What's up, guys? Welcome to another 5x5 workout. The idea is 25 to 30 minutes. We check off multiple aspects of our fitness, okay? So first work block will be our 5-minute dynamic warm-up. Our second block will be our 5-minute neuro activation block. Our third block will be a little bit of resistance training with 1 or 2 dumbbells. If you don't have any weights, that's fine. You can use a kettlebell. You can just go through the range of motion with no weight whatsoever. Our fourth block is going to be a little bit of conditioning, so we'll try to get the heart rate up just a little bit higher. And then our fifth and final block is going to be a little bit of a cool down, okay? So starting with our dynamic warm-up, we've got 5 exercises, 20 seconds of work at each exercise, starting with reverse lunges, okay? Alternating left and right. We'll work for 20 seconds here. And then what we'll do is we'll take about 10 seconds and transition to our next exercise, okay? So when you're doing your reverse lunges, just make sure you're keeping the knee straight forward over top of the toe. Take your time. If you can only go partial range of motion, that's fine as well, okay? 20 seconds. Take about 10 seconds. Our next one is gonna be our heel sweeps. So we're gonna push our butt back, reach down towards the heel, picking the toe up towards the face. You should feel a little stretch in your hamstring on that front leg, okay? So whichever side you're stepping forward with as you reach down, that's where you should feel your stretch, okay? Take your time, we're just warming up. Good, a couple of heel sweeps. Next one, we're gonna do a little glute 90-90, okay? So we're gonna drop down to this position here, stretch the chest down towards the knee. This is what it looks like from the side. You can alternate left and right, or you can go for about 10 seconds repeating on one side and then switch to the other, your call. So a little glute stretch. You might feel it a little bit in your hamstrings or your adductors. Wherever you feel it is fine. Next one is our frog stretch. So we're gonna open our knees nice and wide, drop down to our forearms. We're gonna use our arms to push ourselves backwards into the space behind us. You should feel this stretch in your groin a little bit. And when we're doing these dynamic warm-ups, the idea is just to start to move the body around and start to work through some ranges of motion that we don't typically work through on a day-to-day basis unless we're active or we're actively focused on it. Good. And we got one more. Half kneeling T-spine rotation, okay? So just like on the glute 90-90s, you can do all one side for 10 seconds, or you can alternate as I'm doing. Important to note here, whichever side is your front leg, that's the direction that you rotate, okay? Good. Cool. Let's go through each one of those one more time. So starting with our reverse lunges, alternating left and right. Make sure that you're keeping your feet nice and flat on the front leg, so whichever leg is remaining in place, try not to get caught up on the ball of the foot. Keep the heel pressed into the floor as you go through your lunges, okay? Good. Next one, back to our heel sweeps. Let's push the butt back. Reach down towards the heel or the toe on that front foot. Stand up nice and tall between each one. Should be a good hamstring stretch for you. Good. Next one, gonna sit back down and go to our 90-90s. So for those of you who want to repeat on the same side, feel free. If you want to alternate, you can do that as well. So here's what it looks like when you alternate. Good. Frog stretch, so you can see it from this angle. Knees are open nice and wide, drop down to the forearms, keeping my eyes on the floor and pushing myself backwards until I get a stretch in the groin. If you have any pain in the knees, You can adjust your position by bringing your feet closer towards one another so that they're not out to the side. Okay? Last one. Our kneeling T-spine, half kneeling T-spine. So either repeat all of your reps on one side for about 10 seconds, so get 3 to 5 reps, or you can alternate. Your call. Good. All right, guys. So next one, moving to our neuro activation block, neuro activation, just waking up the nervous system a little bit more. So the idea here is to work on increasing the speed that you work at when you're doing these exercises. So you can start nice and slow. Our first one is called scissor drill. So imagine there's a little line in front of you, and your job is to alternate feet back and forth over that line, okay? So a small bend in the hips and the knees. Those are our scissors, okay? We're only gonna do it for about 10 seconds. We'll count that as round one. Our next one will be line hops. So again, imagine you have a little line, both feet are together, and you're just doing small hops back and forth over that line. Fast touches is gonna be the goal. This will be our first set. Good, relax, 10 seconds. And then our last one is gonna be split jumps. So split jumps, lunge position, and then we come up and we switch sides. Okay, so we alternate our stance in the air, and then we land, okay? So the idea on those is just try to be strong on the way up. Not fast necessarily, but try to get up. A little bit of height on that jump when you split and switch positions, okay? So we'll do each one of these guys 2 more times, and the goal will be to work as fast as you can for 10 seconds, and then we'll recover for about 20 seconds, and we'll do each exercise for 2 rounds, okay? So first one, back to our scissors. So nice and slow if you need to, but then speed it up as you're able to. It's just 10 seconds. Time. Next one's gonna be our line hops, okay? Both feet together. Imagine it's a very small line right in the front of you there. You're just hopping side to side. 3, 2, 1, and go. Time. Good. Split jumps. Remember, don't worry about fast switches, just try to get up nice and high on each rep. Get your hips all the way forward. Get nice and tall. Good, time. Take a few seconds and we'll go through each one of those one more time. Heart rate might be getting up a little bit now, that's good. One more time on our scissors. Remember these guys here. 3, 2, 1, and go. You can work your arms with your legs. Light touches. Good. One more time on our line hops. Back and forth over the line, both feet together. My clock's over here. 3, 2, 1, and go. Time, good. One more set on our split jumps. Oh, 3, 2, 1, and go. Time, good. So now that we've got the nervous system up and online a little bit more, Gonna move into our resistance training block. So our exercise today is gonna be a dumbbell curl to an overhead press. Stay nice and tall, keep your backside tight and your stomach tight so that when you're doing your overhead press, you're not leaning back. Trying to keep our core musculature engaged, make it do its job. One of which is to maintain a good neutral position in the spine as we go through movement, to keep the spine safe. So that's our focus as we're going through this movement today. So if you have dumbbells, feel free to grab a pair of dumbbells. If you only have a single dumbbell, you can alternate a single arm curl and press and just alternate arms either halfway through the time or every set. We're gonna work for 40 seconds on this exercise, so don't rush your reps. Try to find a tempo that you can maintain throughout that 40 seconds. Probably get anywhere from 8 to 12 reps, unless you're really kind of getting after it, which if you're a little bit more advanced and you want to, feel free to test yourself in that regard. But start with something modest, and we'll go from there, okay? If you find that you're having any difficulty maintaining a good position because you're starting to fatigue, then it's okay for you to stop and just default to some curls, or to drop your weight altogether and continue to go through that curl press range of motion with no weights, okay? So 40 seconds. Like I said, I've got my clock over here, so that's where I'll be watching. See how many reps I do here at this tempo in 40 seconds. That's 3, 4, 5. Big breath in, and exhale with the curl to the press. Squeezing my butt. And I'm squeezing my stomach so that I'm not arching my lower back. If you're arching your lower back, you need a little less weight. Good, relax. Set your weights down. Gonna wait for about 20 seconds, so pretty short breaks. That's why I want you to start with something modest on these. And then we're gonna go for our next round, okay? So we've got 5 rounds total, that's the goal. That was round 1. Let's get round 2, come on. 1, 2, so you can see how it looks from the side. 3, trying to push up and back with the dumbbells so that they get straight up overhead. But like I mentioned, trying to avoid leaning back. Okay, so if you need to lean back, you need less weight, you need to drop the weight altogether, or you need to default to just doing some bicep curls, okay? Okay, we got a couple more. You can stay with me on my tempo, or you can pace yourself. Just make sure that you're getting a good squeeze and maintaining a good position. So that's 2 down, got 3 more to go. I worked out yesterday, so I can already, this is pretty lightweight, but I can already feel my biceps and my shoulders working a little bit. Let's get round 3 here. Got about 15 more seconds. If you need an extra break at the bottom, you can. Take that. Just take a couple seconds if you're starting to really burn. And then get back to work when you're able to. Time. Good. 3 down, 2 to go. Good. Again, if you're starting to feel like you're getting wobbly or wonky or having to compensate, decrease the weight you're using, eliminate the weight altogether, or just take a little break. And again, you can also just default to some bicep curls for this set, and then maybe try some overhead presses on the next set. Let's a bunch of different ways to skin a cat. And when we're going through our resistance training blocks, generally speaking, on these 5x5 workouts, we're just trying to load some range of motion, meaning we're trying to put our body through the range of motion that we're working with a little bit of additional load, okay? So for some people, just doing the exercise or the movement itself, with or without weight, I did a few extra seconds on that set, is gonna be a challenge. So some people may not move at all in these ranges of motion, and they need to start with no weight. And that's okay. But if you're able to, load the movement pattern. All right, let's try that again. Now I think this is round 4. This might be round 5. We'll call this round 5. Good? And relax. We'll call that there 5 rounds. Counting and talking and keeping track of all that stuff at the same time. Might get a little mixed up, but again, these are supposed to be efficient workouts that don't kill you. This is meant to get a few boxes checked that we might normally neglect, okay? Next one we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit of conditioning. So 2 exercises. First one is gonna be squat jacks. So we drop down and jump up. Okay, a little squat position on those guys. We're gonna work for 20 seconds there. After that, we're gonna have a seat. We're gonna do some recumbent crunches. So what that looks like is your hands are behind you, or out to the side rather. Bringing the knees towards the chest. Okay? Goal is to do 20 seconds of work at each of those exercises, excuse me, with 10 seconds to transition back and forth, okay? You guys ready? Start with our first one on the squat jacks. 20 seconds of work at those guys. Pace yourself. You don't have to do a deep squat, but you can challenge yourself on the depth of the squat if you'd like. Just try to get those feet to come as close as they can to being all the way together as you come up, okay? And then when you land to the squat, you're just outside of shoulder width. Okay, we've got 10 seconds. Now we're gonna transition to our recumbent crunches. So arms are out to the side to sort of brace my upper body and my torso. And then you can tap the heels if you want to, and then crunch up. Bringing the knees towards the chest. If you want to make this more challenging, you can take the hands off the floor. Good. 10 seconds, and we're going to go back to our squat jacks. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Drop down, pop up. You can increase or decrease your tempo relative to mine based on your ability. Just make sure that you feel like you're getting your heart rate up a little bit. Time. All right, get ready for recumbent crunches, 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go. You can also alternate if both legs at the same time is just too tough for you, or if you're starting to get fatigued. Good. Round 2, check. Round 3, Squat jacks. 3, 2, 1, and go. Notice I like to move my arms, just a little extra motion. All that stuff costs energy, so if your primary goal with your fitness is weight loss, a little extra movement never hurt. Energy in versus energy out. Good. Recumbent crunches, third round here. If your hips are starting to fire up on you, go ahead and alternate. But if your hips are in good shape, they're not burning too bad, and the low back is all good, go ahead and do both at the same time. If that's not challenging enough, keep the hands off. If that's not challenging enough, don't let the heels touch the floor. Good. A little hip stretch. Into round 4 here, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, 20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, time. Good. One more set here on the recumbent crunches, and then we got our 5th and final round. 3, 2, 1, and go. Good. Let's do it one more time. And then we're gonna cool down a little bit and stretch it out. 3, 2, 1, and go. Five seconds. 2, 1 more. Good. Last time on our recumbent crunches, folks. 3, 2, 1, and go. And time. Good. Little hip stretch. That one does get my hip flexors going. Last thing we're gonna do, cool down for a few minutes, going through some dynamic stretches, okay? So our first one, on our back here, we're gonna work for 30 seconds. Just some little knee hugs towards the chest, both at the same time. You can also alternate if you'd like. If you've got any kind of knee pain, grab behind the knee. Or if you tend to have issues with your knees in general, as opposed to grabbing on the front of the knee, just put a little unnecessary pressure on the knee if you're grabbing the front of the knee. A few more seconds here. Good. Take a couple seconds there. Next one, shoulders behind you, okay? So both legs are bent like so. You're gonna take one hand, palm down towards the floor, and you're gonna rock back and forth, trying to keep the shoulder flat against the ground. You can rest your head on the floor, or you can use your other arm to support your head so your neck's not really firing up. Good. So we're doing the same shoulder here, same side rather the whole time. We'll get the next side on the next round. Spider steps. So high plank position, meaning a push-up position, stepping out towards the outside of the hand, and trying to maintain good extension in the leg that's remaining straight out behind you. Meaning don't let that knee drop towards the floor if you can help it, okay? And these are just gonna alternate. Good. Remember our frog stretch from our dynamic warm-up? Gonna go back to that guy there. So knees open nice and wide. Pushing back into the space behind yourself. Getting a little stretch in the groin. And at this point in the workout, you should be thinking about trying to breathe in and out of your nose as best as you can. Big controlled breaths. Allowing the heart rate to come back down some if it got up. Especially on that bit of conditioning we did. Let's do each one more time, okay? So, starting with our knee hugs, whichever variation you chose. So either both knees at the same time, grabbing in front or behind the knee, or alternating. Same idea, either grabbing in front of the knee or behind the knee. Trying to pull the knees in towards the chest. So pick a variation that feels good. Big breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose. Good. Next one. Back to our shoulder exercise that we did. So I'm gonna start with this side this time. Palm is down, shoulders down, elbow is down. Supporting the head with my opposite arm or letting my head rest on the floor. And just rolling my knees side to side. You should feel this one in the back of your shoulder. You might feel a little bit in the front of your shoulder, that's okay. Just make sure that you're only going to the point of a slight stretch. You don't want to go through or force yourself through any kind of pain. So take your time. Good. Spider steps, remember those? So you can see that from the front. Push-up position. Stepping towards the outside of the hand. Good. Trying to remain nice and extended through the back leg, meaning keep that leg nice and straight. Try not to let it drop down towards the floor any more than you can help. Good. Let's do one more set on those frogs. So open up the hips nice and wide. Drop down to the forearms. Pushing in and out. All right, guys, 5x5, 5 work blocks, 5 minutes each, multiple aspects of our fitness. Check, 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 check. I'll see y'all next time.